a good evening, one and all. Welcome.
I like your little dance to the intro.
I do that Cabbage Patch thing, but I knock my mic off its stand.
Oh
A
my
good
god, that was
evening,
funny.
everybody. My goodness. Welcome. Haunted Voices Live right here, WLTK-DB.com. Join us on the website. The chat room's back. You guys emailed. I want to get that out there that's back. So feel free to log in there through Facebook as a guest and all the good stuff there. And I just want to take a moment here, Nicole. A few little
Take all
announcements.
the time you need.
wrote
Take
'em.
all the time.
I even wrote them down on regular paper.
Who uses that anymore, right? Well, I have some notes here, so
Regular paper.
yeah,
No, but
regular
there
paper.
is a lot of chaos going on in the world right now. I mean, a ton.
I know.
It is crazy out there. I just want you folks to know that everything's going to be okay. I don't know how it's going to be okay, but definitely prayers go out to our troops coming back,
Yes,
being united
absolutely.
with their families after all this time, a 20-year war. I know Afghanistan is a little messed up right now. They'll work it out. Let them work it out. I mean, it's crazy, but they're in our prayers. So everybody just snuggle up and be happy and just try to bring some kind of peace, for crying out loud. But don't worry. We've got some good ghostly stuff coming up here. Our guest this evening, Linda Myers, is going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. We're going to talk about her latest investigations, her investigation team. So much good stuff coming up here with her. And I want to let you guys know about the new show coming to the station, Be the Change. It's going to be debuting September 7th. That's going to be airing Tuesday mornings, 9 Central. And you can find out more over there on the website, WLTK-DB.com, theletstalk.com. I put a new show page, and I'm working on that. So each host has their own show page now. It's a work in progress. So go through and check those out. It's a lot of fun doing these things. So we got that coming September 7th for you. There's a few spots left for you folks out there that want your own show. Come on over. We definitely want you on board with us. We're one big happy family. We've got a few slots. It's inexpensive. It starts at $25, goes up to the big package, $120. I'm not hiding prices. I mean, they're insane the way they are for what all you get. It's a lot of fun over there. Go to the website. Check that out. There's a package right there for you. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, what I'd like to do during the first break tonight, is going to be important. You remember we had Michael Laciano on last week.
Yes.
New series,
God,
Nicole.
that week flew by fast. My gosh.
It's crazy.
Woo!
Well, he's got a big series coming to Amazon Prime. And we've got something we're going to play here. It's a new series coming. We're going to play that during the break instead of all the.
Oh, that's awesome. He will love that. Hi, Megan.
Meg.
Nice to see you, as
Yeah,
usual.
we need to get that out to the people because it's good stuff. If you guys missed that show, you can find it in the archives over there on the website, Apple, all the other podcast mediums out there as well. But how are you,
Correct.
Nicole?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm like you. I'm a little tired today. It's just like one of those weird days, kind of achy, but I'm doing good,
Yeah,
just plugging away.
it's
But
one
your
of
mindset, you have like such a good mindset about the stuff going on in the world today, just having that faith in it will all work out. I think it's positive.
Thank you
So,
for that. It has
yeah.
to. It has to, at least until this weekend's over, because my daughter's getting married. I want to tell everybody that she's getting married. It's a big day for Dad, big day for
Oh
her.
my gosh. That is
So
one of the most memorable experiences for a child and his or her parents. I mean, I am so happy for you guys.
thank you.
Amazing.
It's gonna be a lot of fun, Nicole. A lot of good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yo, yeah.
But good stuff coming up here tonight, folks. Linda Myers, we're going to be talking about some of her ghostly encounters, just a little bit about her here, that she's been interested in the paranormal from the age of 19 when she experienced several unusual events after the death of her brother. And we're going to get into that more in depth as well, if she's willing to talk about that. Now, these are both during the dream time and during the daytime. She's currently a member of the Olympic Peninsula Paranormal Society and a past member of Conscious Paranormal Research and Investigation and Desert Paranormal. Now, she has been active in several paranormal conferences as a teacher of both paranormal boot camp, dowsing and pendulums, and so much more. But get this, she has been tested by Edgar Cayce Foundation and found to be intuitive. You don't get that
Oh,
very
oh,
don't
she's
get that
she's
very.
she's more than intuitive. I mean, she's amazing.
This is an amazing stuff, and it's an
Mhm.
honor to have her on the show. Linda Myers, welcome so much. It's great to have you. Thanks for taking time out.
Hey, Todd Nicole.
Hi, nice to see you.
So excited to be here with you guys tonight.
Well,
Yes, of course.
And as you know, I watch your show regularly, so I absolutely love watching what you do. And then I get to be here with you tonight.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, and then of course in the future too. I'm like, let's ask Linda to come on. Let's do that. My goodness.
Mary Beth Yoon, she is awesome.
Yes, she
Absolutely.
is.
There's
Thank
so many
you.
things, Linda, to get into here with you tonight. My goodness, and the hour is going to fly by. But what I like to ask every guest that's been on here the first time is what got you into this, and you started at the age of 19. If you don't mind, what happened?
Um, I was 19 years old, and I had a brother that was a year younger. And we were living in a farm community, and because it was quite a ways from town, my parents purchased a motorcycle, one of the little 90s, I think they called it back in the day, so that he could get to and from town to do jobs, make a little extra money. Well, the first day that he got it and he was headed into town to get registered and stuff, he was hit by a car and killed. So everything from that day on was just pretty crazy because we were like very close. Anyway, about 3 months after, I was staying with some friends, and we had a really bad snowstorm and things were just kind of creepy. And I went to bed that night and I had this dream. And in the dream, there was my brother, and we were in this large cave like structure. And all the furniture was made, like handmade, excuse me, wooden. And anyway, he's standing on the other side of the cave and he's looking at me. And then he has a bow and arrow in his hand and he draws it back and he looks at me and he aims it at me. And he says to me, he said, I can release the arrow and shoot you and it'll hit you in the heart and your heart will stop, but you will not die. And
Wow.
Oh my God. Oh.
sorry, it's still hard one to talk about. Anyway, it totally changed my perspective about living and dying. And about a couple months after this incident, I was at home and I was working two jobs at the time, young, you want to have gas money and all that good stuff. And I was in between jobs, so I thought I'd lay down on the couch in the living room and just shut my eyes a little bit before I had to go. And so I was laying there a few minutes and I felt somebody shoving me in the back. And without even thinking, I'm like, Les, stop it. And then it dawned on me, he's passed over. So I got up, and when I went outside to get into the car to go to work, my tires had been flattened.
Oh wow.
So it was almost like, you're not going to work today for some reason. And I've had a few visitations since then, but I have to say those were probably the most impactful. And I think that's when I started really getting interested in, there's way more out there than we know about.
My goodness.
Just incredible. It's almost too that he knew I guess your path. You were destined to go down the path and work in the spiritual realm. It's almost like he knew that.
He was
And I say that because with my grandmother, how she came to me, I credit her almost for getting me on my path. So it's kind of like a similar scenario. Just goosebumps.
Yeah.
Situations like that, it's almost as if, we all have this gift. Some choose to use it, some choose to, like myself, I like to keep it closed. Um, but it's amazing how an encounter such as that can just flip a switch.
Oh gosh.
Right.
Yeah.
And
It totally changes the way you think.
absolutely.
Oh
And I
yeah.
mean, you can't go back to thinking different.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so then that kind of leads into, I'm thinking approximately 10 years after that, I ended up in Virginia Beach, Virginia, was in the Air Force. And I just happened to live probably 3 blocks from the Edgar Casey Foundation. And I had been talking to some friends, and I had told them a little bit about what had happened with me, with my brother, and the fact that I've been having these really interesting dreams where I would find myself somewhere and I would sometimes write it down, which I'm really good about now. And then I would Google it later and I would find out it was an actual place or a thing. And so I said, all right, I'm going to go to Edgar Casey and find out, what this stuff is all about. And what I will say about the Edgar Casey Foundation is like they're very dedicated to assisting people in exploring the paranormal. They're very clear that people are intuitive and that, if they can help them in any way and manner with some of their training, excuse me just a sec,
Oh, you're fine.
with some of their training that they have, that they are, I mean, they're totally committed to helping you develop that. And so when I went in there, I kind of told them a little bit about what had happened for me. And so they had a couple tests that they had me do. And the first one I did was they took and gave me this big yellow envelope and they asked me to sit with it. They asked me to just clear my mind and, sit with this envelope and just kind of see what came up to me, either visually, which I see visual a lot of the times, or feelings. And so I sat with it, I think about 15 minutes. And then I wrote down and I told the lady, I can't remember exactly what was on it now, other than I remember it was a farm scene and I think there was animals or whatever. Well, I had written down 75% of the things that were on that piece of paper. And then so they at that point told me, yeah, there's definitely something here. So then they actually had me work with a deck of cards called Zener. I don't know if you're
Yes.
familiar with the Zener
Yes.
cards.
Explain a Zenner card if you would. I'm not familiar with a Zenner card.
Okay, it's Zenner, and there are 5 symbols. So there's like a circle, a star, a jagged line, a square, and a triangle. And they have 5 sets of each one. And so what they do is they'll have somebody sit across from you, and that person will be looking at the cards, and then you give your impression of what you're seeing. And so I did really well on that one as well. And so both of those things actually, I think, led me to become a better investigator, because what happens when you start focusing on something like this, like with the picture that you can't see, you have to settle yourself and you have to totally rely on, your intuitive senses, those things that, we as paranormal investigators, I think, use a lot when we're doing investigations. And what I think came out of both the Zener cards and the picture thing was kind of a heightened awareness of my surroundings, paying better attention to things that were going on outside myself. And so those were there was one other thing, but I apologize. I was going to write down, I can't remember exactly what that one was, but then you were allowed to go in and explore all the research that they've done. And I was actually really kind of surprised just how much they were into researching paranormal.
Yeah, their website's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, there's so many different classes. I mean, the initial test that they gave you, is that standard for everyone, or do they base it by, I guess, level of experience or whatnot?
Well, I have to say that was 20 years ago, so I'm not 100% sure that they're still using the exact same.
Right, okay.
My guess is that they would for sure be using the Zena cards, because those are amazing and
They are.
very helpful if you're really wanting to. But I will say, the other thing though, I still practice. Like I'll take a magazine and I'll close it on my hand without having looked in it, and I think it's an excellent tool. Like I said, it really, really forces you to pay attention. Pay attention to what you hear, what you see, what you feel, sometimes even what you taste.
Absolutely. It's like you're training yourself to like kind of think outside, which is to me, which is really interesting. It reminds me of the movie Ghostbusters, when Bill Murray's character is testing that young guy
Yeah.
with the cards and then zaps him when he gets it. I'm sorry, I just had to mention.
That-
So funny.
yeah. You didn't have to go through anything like that, right, Linda? Let's.
Right.
No zaps.
Linda was not harmed during this process, folks.
No.
On that note, we're going to skip off to a quick break here. Now, this
Alrighty.
is a very special one. Make sure you pay attention to this. This is a new series coming to Amazon Prime. Check it out, folks. "20 minutes past the hour. Yes, we are back live. That was cool. Cool trailer there. Journey through the past. That's going to be coming to Amazon Prime. We're talking, of course, with Linda Myers. Extraordinary so far. I mean, my goodness. If you guys missed the beginning of the program, don't worry. We got everything archived. It's a 24-hour turnaround now. You can get all the latest archives there at WLTK-DB.com or theletstalk.com. Whatever one you have bookmarked, you can find those there if you missed the first part of the show. But we were talking about what got you involved and your journey. And my goodness, what you have been through, Linda. My goodness. Amazing. Kudos to you for hanging in there with this field all this time. You've
I
seen
think
the
that,
changes. We've all been
I
through
think
these
those
changes.
experiences make you a stronger person.
Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely. That's right.
What I'd like to talk about now is experience, because Nicole and I do a Back to the Basics series, and we were just talking about investigation teams. So I would love to hear how yours was founded, how everything came together, some of the protocols and some of the do's and don'ts that you and your team use out there, Linda.
Oh boy, you're gonna put me on the spot because I'm the new kid on the block.
You're on the
I
spot right now.
will
Let's
say that
go.
Ops has been around for 11 years. My friend Mary Bethune that popped in earlier, she's the one that put the team together. She'd been interested in the paranormal. She herself has had some experiences. She's had one similar to mine um, with her husband who's passed. And she just had a real strong calling to put together a team. So there were about 8 people in the local area, and they kind of got together. And I think quite a few of the protocols that they're using currently are some that were kind of put together when ghost hunters started, putting their stuff together. Integrity, always go to an investigation with that in mind. One thing that we're pretty adamant about is do not pick on or do anything to the spirits that are there.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
oh,
you.
you mean you don't
Yes.
go out there and provoke them?
Well, let me tell you about a little experience because, and this was actually this was not intentional. So I have to really be clear about that. We
Not,
were investigating at the Walker Ames here in Port Gamble, and we had a bunch of women that were very interested in the paranormal, and one of our ladies that was friends with them, so we put together an investigation for them. And so we were exploring the levels there. Myself and Mary and a couple others were taking different levels. There's 4 levels there. There's a basement, main floor, second floor, and attic. And so we would go with each group, probably take 3 or 4 of them and spend a little bit of time in each one so that we can really be quiet and, give them an opportunity to have a better experience.
mm-hmm.
And so we were up in the attic, which, oh my God, is amazingly active. There's little children up there that play with the toys. And so, oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. If you ever come out here, you need to come. Anyway, so we're up there and we're actually, we're filming because the toys are going nuts. And this one particular young lady, she's telling one of the toys, it has, I think, 3 or 4 different little songs it would play. So she was asking for specific songs and it would play them. So, we're all kind of in that mood then, in the attic. This cool stuff been happening. So then the stairs to come down to the 3rd floor, which is where all the bedrooms are, is pretty narrow. So I was standing at the very bottom with my hand resting against the door so that everybody that's coming down, I make sure they're okay. Well, in a room behind me, it's one of the really lively bedrooms, is a grumpy guy that hangs out. So anyway, I got them all down. I had my hand on the door and I turned around towards the room and I said, let's go into the grumpy room. No sooner did I have the grumpy guys out of my mouth, the door slammed shut.
Oh, that was
oh my gosh.
wow.
I was like, and so I will say that I did go apologize to the grumpy guy. So lesson
that
learned.
shows so much heart, though. A lot of people would not do that. A lot of people would not do that. And I will say I actually did when in 2017, I visited during the Port Gamble Ghost Conference put on by the fabulous Peter Orbea. And the Walker Ames, that was my first time ever going in the Walker Ames. And this is weird. This has happened to me maybe 2 or 3 other locations, Queen Mary as well as Preston Castle in Ione, California. So when I walk walked into the Walker Ames house, I immediately I just got so emotional and just started crying. And it was it
Really?
just, you know, I just was picking up on so much sadness.
Well, it
So,
was really interesting because after I went in and apologized, I had actually had interaction kind of with the grumpy guy before because I'm clairaudient. And he was in there one day and he said, "Why are they all here? Why do they have to keep coming in here? Why are they bothering?"
yeah.
And so my feelings at that point were, we're invading his space.
Mhm.
And it was just, I felt rude of me to call him the grumpy guy. And so I felt like it was important to go in there and apologize. And I did.
And he heard you.
Oh,
He heard
yeah.
you.
I've been back since and it was totally good. But that just kind of, it makes a point that, they might be spirits, but they have feelings.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. And that's it's one thing out there. It's respect. I mean, that a lot of people are losing or don't understand. I know there's a lot of different teams out there and so forth. But when you get, let's say you have an investigation, like let's say the Walker Ames, and you have more than one team out there because it's a good size home. You could have a first, like some kind of event or something out there. Do you think that would provoke itself? Do you think that a place like the Walker Ames house, do you think that's more of a small team kind of group, or do you think it's something that's open to big events?
Well, I'll tell you, since you brought that up and you talk about more than one team investigating, we just did we went to Fort Worden, and Fort Worden is an old Army base on the peninsula, but outside of Port Townsend. And there were two of us. There was the ops team and the Northwest Paranormal Research Group investigating at the same time in the schoolhouse. And when we first set up and there was only a few of us, things felt very calm and it felt like we were going to have, a fairly easy evening. Well, when we got everything set up and the rest of the people came in, the whole energy changed, and not in a real positive way. There was some interaction with people, touched, and the feelings with the touching were not nice. So I think you have to be really careful, just from my own perspective, if you're going to have a place like the Walker Ames or this particular schoolhouse, that you need to really make sure that the people that you're investigating with know about this kind of stuff and know that you need to be respectful. You need to, if you hear something that says get out, do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's great advice. That's great advice, because there are a lot of events, and if they're not controlled correctly, they can just wreak havoc. I mean, you have all these different teams, all this different equipment. You have, I think, and you guys, please, I'd love to hear your opinions on this. I think spirits have anxiety just as much as we do.
Oh yeah. You
They
just
understand.
you were reading my mind, Todd. Yep.
Yeah. I think that they have those types of emotions. And when there is a bunch of people in there, or a bunch of equipment, a bunch of flashing lights and sounds and things, I think they get really anxious and just dissipate or leave, or like your incidents, get out.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we do before we even ever start an investigation, we all get together and we kind of do a prayer and we let them know why we're there. We let them know what our intention is. We even explain a little bit of the equipment so that, there's not, oh God, what's that piece of thing? And, we try to really be, we think like we're explaining it to like you, like, this is what this is. We're here to investigate. We know that you've crossed over. We know you're still here. We respect that. We really would love, to experience talking with you, or, whatever interaction might, come through. And I found that every time that we approach an investigation in that manner, everything is very smooth the whole evening. I mean, we'll get evidence and things will happen. But most of the time it's and that's one of the things that, as a team, whenever we go into an investigation, if we're actually going to someone's place, like, well, Pete knows us for the walk range, so that we don't really have to do that so much. But when we were talking to the people at Fort Worden, it was really interesting because, number one, they were absolutely 100% positive that we were going to find nothing. There were no spirits, have a good evening, but you're not finding anything. That turned out to be totally wrong. But what we did is we were very respectful of how they felt. We just told them that this is something that we do. We love doing investigations. We love exploring places. And then we told them we would absolutely share anything that we got with them. And I think that's really important.
Yeah. That's Allie and I work in a very similar manner. It almost reminds me, I wanted to mention this real quick, the Whaley House. I get asked a lot, oh, so have you actually investigated the Whaley House? I've been in the house numerous times, but I actually choose not to go in there and investigate because I feel that the Whaley family that's still there in spirit form, do not like the herds of people coming in and day out. I feel their frustration. So I honor that and I don't investigate. So wanted to mention that.
It's good practice. Good practice.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that, I feel like it really made a lot of difference for me with the Edgar Casey background, is intuitively knowing when I should and shouldn't go somewhere. Because we're different, they're different, and if you don't really resonate with them on some level, you're not going to have a good investigation, and neither is the spirit where you're at.
True.
So I
it's good practice. It's good practice, period. And just like Mary Bethune says here, spirits do. I feel that we are entering their home. I treat them as I would like to be treated, just in case you're listening on the podcast later. And then, of course, Pete or Bea, they are people like all of us. They like being at the walk.
Of course they do. Yeah, very, very well said.
Even the grumpy guy still likes me.
Even the grumpy guy. And that's the beauty of all these investigations. What other cases stand out so far to you that you've been across, some things you've encountered?
Well, I've got one coming up that I'm really interested in doing. We're going to be going to the Wolf Creek Inn in Oregon. And my interest in that one is that we're going to be staying in a room that Clark Gable stayed in.
Ooh.
Oh.
Now here's my interest. I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago. This is before I actually was active up here with the ops guys. My son was in Las Vegas still, and his group was called Desert Paranormal. So I was down visiting, and he decided that he should take me to the Pioneer Saloon in Good Springs, Nevada. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. I think Ghost Hunters has been there, and maybe one or other two teams. But it's old, and they had gunfights and all kinds of crazy stuff in there. But the reason that it is kind of important for me for this upcoming investigation is that Clark Gable was also there. He was there because his, I don't believe she was his wife at the time. I think they were boyfriend, girlfriend. I'm not really 100% sure. But Carol Lombard was in an airplane that crashed on the hillside not too far from the Good Springs Saloon. And so he sat in this saloon for 3 days waiting to hear, if she survived, or, what news there was. Well, there was a bar stool that he sat in the whole time, and they talk to you. They tell you about all this stuff when you investigate it. So, it's pretty interesting. Anyway, so I decided I'm going to sit on his bar stool and I'm going to talk to him. And I'm sitting there just kind of quietly. And the next thing I know, I get shoved, and just almost enough that if I hadn't had my hands on the bar, and it was so there again, I'm like, I'm really sorry. Maybe I'm not supposed to be sitting in your chair. So I moved. That place is crazy active too, by the way. It was very interesting. I mean, EVPs, and at the very end of the evening, when we thought they were kind of getting a little bit tired of us, I had this flashlight that I had kind of loose, and I said, all right, if you want us to leave, turn the flashlight off. It's off, just like that. Boom.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got
That
the
little
picture.
trick can be cool.
Yeah, so we left. Anyway, so long story short, I'm really hoping that maybe I get to interact with Clark Gable at the Wolf Creek Inn. So there was somebody from, I believe, Hollywood Ghost Hunters that was just there recently and said that the room was very active. They had a lot of interesting stuff happen for them. So I'm looking forward to going. That's, let's see, this time next week I'll be there.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, that's fantastic. You can
right around
almost
the
even
corner.
ask him. You can almost ask him and say, do you remember me sitting on your bar stool, and see
Please don't
what
push
happens?
me off.
Yeah, I know. Don't push me off.
I'm not sure what this touching thing.
Yeah, see if there's some kind of memory. See if that memory
Yeah.
works. That would be interesting to ask, or just a sense to see if you could pick up too. And
Yeah.
that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about, and commend you and your investigation team for allowing the intuitive, the almost mediumship to come through and to be practiced on the team. I wish more teams would do that. I know that a lot of them are scientific, but you know what? That's a science too. It really
Exactly.
is. And
I look at it as an extra sense. I mean, if you believe in touch, if you believe in smell and sight, then why can't you believe in that?
Exactly.
It's no different. It's that extra something. And I totally 100% believe that we all come in with it. I think some people develop it more, but I still think everybody has it. If you talk to everybody and they told you the truth, I would be willing to bet that at least one time in their whole life, they would have one incidence where they would say, well, yeah, I think something happened. And that was the time that they trusted, then and it's real important. Well, two things. It's important to be open, but the other thing is it's important to protect yourself if you're going to be open. And the reason I say protection is because sometimes you might be someplace where the spirits aren't as nice. And you need to make sure that you have your spirit guides, guardians, or whoever taking care of you. Because if you're going to open up, you need to be sure you're protected.
What are some tips you can give someone that has intuitive abilities? Let's say that they're empathic, they have deja vu a lot, so to speak, or they're having some premonitions in their dreams. What are some things you can tell them on how they can deal with that, Linda, and how they can accept it and just kind of go with it, so to speak?
Well, number one, I journal every single day. I'm a very avid dreamer. I get things in my dream time because I ask for it. And so as soon as I get up, I journal it. If I have like a deja vu moment where I think, gosh, then I'll journal it and I time date it. And then the other thing I do is, well, what were the feelings attached to whatever just went on? And I think if you start doing that, if you take the time to do the journal and time date stuff, you're going to find that a lot of times there's a pattern. And most of the time it's something or somebody trying to get in touch with you if you're open to it. But journaling, number one, journaling. I highly recommend meditation. And I say meditation because it allows you to get yourself centered and quiet. And I have talked to a couple people. I'm not one of those guys that can sit arms and legs crossed doing meditation. There's another thing there's a thing you can do called walking meditation.
Yes.
It works for me. I absolutely love it. And I do it best when I'm outside, because what happens when you're doing the walking meditation, you get quiet and you become a lot more observant. So that would be a good technique. The other thing is talk to people, go to conferences, get on this, watch the show. The people that you guys have on as speakers, these are intelligent people, have lots of experience and lots of good things that they can, help you with. Mm-hmm. So that would be my answer.
We can all learn from each other in this field.
Absolutely.
And it's fun, people
Whoop, looks like
still,
the internet
sitting
broke.
there, super still for like 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be like that.
No, as a matter of fact, like I said, it doesn't work for me because then I let my little crazy mind, oh, did I do this? Did I do that? Or whatever. But something about the walking meditation, number one, you're, 1 foot in front of the other. You've got to concentrate on that. But it also just kind of lets that other garbage go away.
Yeah.
So that one works for me. But I can't recommend journaling enough. And the other thing, like I said, talk to people. If there's local paranormal groups, it's really interesting because this coming weekend we're going to be at the Walk-A-Rangs because we're doing working interviews for 5 new people. And a couple of those new people were a little hesitant about telling us that they were intuitive. And so we basically told them, no, this is a gift. This is something that we highly recommend. And that's what we'll be talking with them during the investigation. And we'll make sure that they have something they can, write down. What are your feelings about, this room that we're in? What do you see? What do you smell? Is there a taste in the room? So
excellent. It's not
we
just
highly encourage intuitive people.
It's not just about can you operate this camera? Can you, connect a DVR-IR system? It's more about, incorporating those senses. So that's fantastic.
I think our senses are probably the largest piece of equipment we should worry about.
Yep.
I mean, bringing our common sense with us. Trust me. I mean, I can't even keep up with it. I've been out of the field for a little while. I'm retired from it, but the gadgets that are out now, my goodness, so many different things. And it's cool. I've the KD Stafford out there trying developing these new pieces of equipment, new ways to communicate. I think it's fantastic. I just wish a lot of that energy can be put forth into some of the equipment that's already captured. So we put some more research. Why was that? For example, the analog recorder or the old digital recorders, no one's really figured out the phenomenon with that famous RRDR60 yet. No one knows why that collects so many voices.
I have one.
Oh, you have?
I have one. And let me tell you, I had it out in my backyard one day, and I live in the country. There are no people around me. It's just trees. There's nothing within a mile, right? And so I sat out there with the little Panasonic, and I decided to record just to see maybe birds, whatever. So I got back in the house a little bit later, and I turned the thing on, and then I was like, what in the heck? I kept hearing this. It sounded like somebody was singing that old song, "The ants go marching two by two."
Oh my goodness!
I still have it on the recorder, by the way. I did not get rid of it. And there's no children around me. Explain that one.
That piece of equipment horrified businessmen around the globe. They're taking their little notes, and these other voices would come up in there. Yep. And they're very hard to get a hold of. So hang on to that.
Yes. I think it's the magnetism of it. Your tapes have that the magnetism, and that may draw and imprint vocalizations.
Well, I think too, if you think about this in a scientific state of mind, they're using energy somehow to affect that piece of equipment.
Right.
So if they have a way to vocalize, well, why not? Yeah. That's the only sense I can make of it. And like I said, when I played that and I actually ran it through my computer, I could tell that they were singing that. And there's absolutely there's no way. And speaking of other equipment, by the way, I have one of the most common questions that we get asked, especially by the new people, is what should we buy?
Yeah.
And the number one thing I tell them is don't. If you want to get a recorder, yes, because recorders are invaluable, obviously, for the EVPs and stuff. But I was one of those new kids, and I bought this, and I bought that, and I bought this, and you know what? It's all sitting in a suitcase. So it's like number one, if you want to be a good paranormal investigator, develop your intuitive self first. Work on that.
Nice.
Work on that, and then move on to some of the other stuff that you feel drawn to.
And I was just gonna say, a lot of times it's almost like with crystals and gemstones, almost like they pick you, if that makes sense. Similar with equipment,
Yes.
get, like you said, get used to your intuitive side, and then you will know what gadgets you're drawn to, and maybe the gadgets themselves are drawing you to them too, if that makes sense.
Well,
Makes
and the other thing that you can do, number one, maybe work with a paranormal team, and I can't recommend these enough, the conferences that are, all across the country now, is that there's a lot of people that go to the conferences that will have equipment set up, and they'll talk to you about this stuff. They'll tell you the pros, the cons, and then as far as like the investigations, when we have the working interview this weekend, we're going to let them use the equipment. We told them all, don't buy anything yet. Mm-hmm. We want it, especially the intuitive gang. It's like, we want you to work with that first. And then I want you to work with, the K2 meter or, whatever. We've got several things that they can play with, but, don't buy it yet, or you're going to be like me and you're going to have a bunch of stuff in your suitcase.
Yeah, no, I have some that I never use that just sits there collecting dust. It's crazy.
That happens.
Yeah.
It's a
good lesson, and that's I can't say enough to people, listen to shows like this one, because you are going to get so much information and wisdom listening to people who have been there, done that you can walk away from this show or a conference and know that you're going to be a good investigator because you're paying attention to what these people have done.
Right.
Learn from them. We've been there, we've done that. Don't do that one. Don't piss off the grumpy guy. Stuff like
that. There's a lot of information out there. If you can't get in touch with a veteran researcher, reach out to them and try. I mean, at least try on social media. It's amazing how many would actually open arms, bring you in and help if you have any questions. I know there's a lot of with the technology these days, there's a lot of ways for these teams to do live investigations and things and air that, which is great. It's phenomenal. I mean, of course, don't do that unless you have client's permission if you're at a home. But be careful, and interrupt me by any means here, you two. Be careful with what you watch on these streams, because some of these streams are fake. And I see a lot of these fake streams where there's overlays and things of apparitions and so forth. And people are falling for it by the thousands. You see them tuning into it by the thousands.
Oh, yeah. There's so many on YouTube. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, and it's tough because you can get drawn into these for the entertainment value of it.
Right.
Those are the ones that I would like to.
Yep. Me too.
Because you gotta, here's where your integrity as a paranormal investigator comes in. If you're going to be the kind of person that wants to get somebody interested and be of value to the paranormal community, you need to tell them the truth. You need to be straight up. You need to tell them that's bogus. You need to tell them that we don't harass spirits. We don't go out actively looking for crazy stuff and send somebody down in a dark hole just because the lead investigator doesn't want to go. I mean, you've got to tell. I mean, you have to sit with yourself at the end of the day, and if you can go to bed at night saying that I've done my job as an investigator, I've been honest, I've done my investigation with an integrity, I've tried to share my gift, then you're doing it right. And I would say 70, if not more, % of those ones that are doing the streaming, no integrity.
Yeah,
which is sad.
Exactly.
Because
They
it could be
they
different.
sensation.
It could
Yeah,
be
they
different.
sensationalize it and do all kinds. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Excellent, excellent advice. But yeah, a lot of these videos, not only are they faking things, but they're just, it's so it's disgraceful to the paranormal community
It
with
is.
that. I mean, it's almost sensationalizing and mocking the spirit world, if you will, which just does not sit well with me at all.
Well, and here's another thing. This is when you get into the safety issue. You're encouraging people that don't have training, that don't have any kind of experience, to go off into some place and think they're going to get this wild, crazy experience, and
Mhm.
a lot of times they're going to get hurt.
Absolutely.
And that's wrong. That's one of the things that we talk about too. When we, one of our primary things, other than we do our protection stuff, is we talk about safety. Whenever the first thing in an investigation, you never investigate alone. Never. There's always two of you. You always have the walkie with you. One of you has the walkie. Everybody has flashlights, and there's one person stationed somewhere that knows where the first aid kit is and knows
Yes,
how to call 911 if for some reason we had to.
exactly.
And when you see those kind of streaming things, you never see them talk about that kind of stuff.
Oh no, it's all about the entertainment.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, you've got to be really careful. They are out there. I mean, if you want to watch one, there's one I can recommend. It's very good. He's local. Jason Snyder, Crawford County, Illinois Ghost Center Society. They do these streams from these locations. He is genuine. Uh, Jason is old school. He's not gonna play up anything like that. And that's just one of the many that are out there that are respectful. But a lot of them, absolutely, my goodness. Some of them are just ridiculous, and hopefully people can tell the difference, but unfortunately some can't. So we have to
Yeah.
figure out a little bit.
And that's why I think it's our job as paranormal investigators, to educate people.
Absolutely.
Like through this show, going to the conferences, and when they come up and talk to you, tell them what it's like. Be honest. Tell them you can sit in an investigation site overnight and not get anything.
That's right.
And
And
you
then
have
all
to.
of I'm so God, I keep interrupting you, Linda. I'm so sorry. Continue.
No,
Oh, you're fine.
No, I just completely interrupted you. My goodness. So sorry about that.
Soul sister.
Just gonna zip my mouth.
no, it's there's delays and things with the internet, and
Yeah.
this hour, my goodness, flew by. And Linda, we're gonna have to have you back again.
Oh yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind.
I love you guys, and I am
Oh,
so heartfelt impressed that you're doing this. Any way I can support that, 1-800 Linda.
You're
there's
always
not
there
enough
when you need
numbers
it.
there, Linda.
Intuitively, I know when
Oh,
you need me.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're just a tremendous, all around tremendous. I don't mean to patronize you, but you have so much wisdom, and you just have a big heart, and you're a tremendous person all around. So
I thank you. I thank you. And if I can, give one drop of wisdom or help somebody in one small way, then I feel like I've done what I'm here to do. And honoring my brother, I think, in not a small way, but honoring him in a big way,
yes,
by paying attention to the message. And just real quickly,
Absolutely.
if you guys, if you're intuitive and you're, having some of these dreams and stuff like that and write them down, please pay attention and document that stuff. And if you're not sure what it means, get a hold of somebody, because there's a lot of us out there that can talk to you about it.
yeah. Well said. Very well
And we're
said.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
Ops has a website, Oregon. Watch me mess it up. Oregon Peninsula Paranormal Society, and we've actually gotten questions on the website, and if we don't answer right away, we get back as soon as we can, and we're available to talk to you, and we're always there to help if we can.
Oh, thank God. And thank you
Fantastic.
for putting that out there, that you are willing to help, because
Absolutely.
there's so many.
Absolutely. 100%.
You've just been an amazing guest tonight, Linda. A wealth of information. I look forward to talking to you again real soon. Real soon. Take care, Linda.
All right.
Awesome. Good night, Linda. Heart.
She is a sweetheart. Oh
Isn't
my!
she amazing? I know. I love her. She's
What
just
a show! There's so much information in there, Nicole. So many things.
and
And
it's
yes,
often overlooked. It's stuff that's often overlooked, and it's I mean, it's wisdom. It's just yeah,
yeah,
awesome show.
it is. That's good stuff. And if you guys missed the first part, don't worry. Everything's covered. Just give us about a 24-hour turnaround. We'll have everything updated over there at WLTK-DB.com. And you'll find everything there on demand audio, on demand video, whatever your fancy. Or you'll see it updated throughout the podcast mediums. It'll just go gabling on your phone, and there it is. And you won't have a thing to worry about, because technology is crazy these days, folks.
It
Now,
sure is.
next week, we have Michael Gagliari. I think it's how it's pronounced, Nicole.
Is it Michael Gagliardi? Gagliardi, I think, yeah.
Yeah. We have him on. We're going to talk about his latest book. We're going to talk about his experience as well. And next week's show may be a little disturbing, folks. It may get a little hairy. So be sure and tune in 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Now, there is no Paranormal Pete this evening. He's taking the night off. And sometimes we need to do that in life.
Good for him. Yep, we need to do that once in a while.
Yep. He's going to be back again next week. And Nicole, what do you have coming up on your show Thursday?
I'm having you as just a little round table with you coming on, and we can just talk, some paranormal stuff, and we'll figure it out. It'll be a surprise.
Surprise. And from all of us here at WLTK-DB and Haunted Voices Radio, I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to listen to us and watch us tonight. It most appreciated very much. And let us know what you like, what you don't like over there on the website, WLTK-DB.com. We'll see you again next week. Take care, folks.
Good night, guys.